Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Nikki. I go by the name Flopaholic on like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And basically I do various videos on my twin boys, on Slimming World, weight loss, food, health, beauty, etc, etc, etc. So this video is all about kind of like 10 months on. Would I do anything different now as a mum, a new mum? Would I have not bought some of the things that I bought? So kind of like, I don't like the word regrets, because at the end of the day there's no point having regrets because you can't go back, you can only go forward. But it's more like a reflection on the last 10 months, and through the experience I've gained in 10 months, if I can pass on anything that I would do different for somebody just starting out, then you never know, it could help somebody. So just as a little frame up of this video, at the end of the day, I am a new mum. So I have got to be allowed to learn as I go, like any other new mum. So, you know, sometimes mums might make comments and be like, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. That's because you know that, and that's because you are a mum and you've got experience of being a mum. I wasn't around my sister's youngest because I was at university, so I wasn't really around her baby growing up. My friends had babies, but again, I wasn't really around that. So my best friend had her first child while she was finishing university, so we were in separate cities. So, and also I think it was just self-preservation, because I knew deep down that I couldn't have children naturally, and then obviously that was confirmed medically. I think self-preservation, I just didn't really spend a lot of time around other people's babies. And you know, so I haven't really got loads of experience. I won't watch anything including babies, so I'm just learning as I go, just like any other new mum. So it's very easy for people to criticize you, but at the end of the day, you know, I've got to be allowed to learn as I go and get advice from people when I ask for it, and then give some back as well, because obviously, you know, on certain things I do try and do my research, and I might learn from my mistakes, or I might have been told something by my health visitor, or something's worked really well for us, for the boys, and I want to pass those tips on, whatever. So yeah, just a little frame up there. So 10 months on, I've made a little list on my phone. First of all, I'm going to keep it quite basic, and I'm just going to talk about things that we bought that I regret buying. The first one is movement monitors. So you know when you get your camera system for your cots, and you can buy like a mat that goes under the mattress of the cot, so it alerts you if they stop moving. Now I liked the idea of it, but I didn't like the idea of it. So I thought, well, if it increases the safety and it gives me peace of mind and reassurance, then it's got to be a good thing. But in the end, we just never used them. And I've spoken to quite a lot of people, and they all said they were actually quite unnerving, and actually they didn't really enjoy having them in the cot. They just thought that it was a little bit, I don't know, it made them worry even more unnecessarily. Other people, I think, would find great comfort from having them. But for me personally, it was a waste of money because I never used them. The second one was Moses baskets. Again, sleepy heads can be a little bit controversial. Some people don't agree with putting them in cots. We never ever had them in the cots, but ours did sleep in sleepy heads downstairs. So when they're newborn, they're with you 24/7. So yeah, we had the sleepy heads downstairs, and then I did get some Moses baskets to have upstairs, but actually we didn't really get around to using them. They just grow so quick, so really we should have just stuck with the sleepy heads. And then upstairs we had a next to me cot, which goes next to your bed, and they both slept in there, and actually keeping them together worked better than having them in separate Moses baskets. So that was something that we learned. Also with bath supports, you can get ones where they kind of like sit up and ones where they're more lying down, and we tried both, and the one that's more lying down, more horizontal, was awful. I'm not going to name the brand because I just don't think that's fair. I swear, well, I could name the brand. I'm trying to think of what it was now. I can't even remember what it was, but the one that we use is one where they're more upright. So the lie down one wasn't as great, the upright one was amazing. But now they're older, they're getting a little bit too big for those ones now. So we've bought like this twin, it's almost like a bath mat, you know, with like the suckers on. And then it's got two little raised bits here, so they can sit either side of it, and then now they sit upright. It's just an easier way of bathing them at the same time. But yeah, the horizontal one wasn't very good. Expensive clothes. Now I didn't spend loads and loads of money on expensive clothes, and I'm glad. Some of the stuff that I got that was more expensive, is ruined. You know, they're sick a lot, they might get poo on it, they might wee all over it, they get their milk all over it. So yeah, expensive clothes and babies just don't really mix. If it's a special occasion, then obviously go for it. Same goes with like all the gym mats and the play mats. So initially we got like one big one, and it was all right, and it had the kind of like play gym on top and stuff. Then we tried 2 cheaper, smaller ones. They were rubbish. I really regret buying them. And then in the end, we just got one of the like really big spongy ones, and that was fantastic. So as soon as we got the spongy one, they started rolling all the time, and it was just brilliant. So yeah, I regret buying the kind of like thinner, cheaper ones. They were all right. I say cheap, you know, they weren't cheap, but yeah, I wouldn't have bought them looking back. The other one is pushchairs. So pushchairs, strollers, etc. When you're having multiple babies in one go, the pushchair is a really difficult decision. There's quite a few different ones on the market. The one that perhaps for me personally didn't end up working out that great was the Bugaboo. So the Bugaboo was my favourite one when they were newborn. I just really wanted to be able to see them both and have them next to each other. A lot of the tandem pushchairs, you can't actually see both babies, and that was a massive no for me. And then in the end, I found a pushchair. It was actually one that was sent to me. It was a Casato Wow XL, and oh my god, that is amazing. Like, that pushchair is amazing, and it's quite a bit cheaper than some of the other pushchairs. So I would have loved to have just started off with that one. It is fantastic. So there's so many different configurations, and you can have them both facing you, you can have them facing out. It's just fantastic. Really easy with the car seats, really great with the proper, you know, basket version of it. And then it's also got just a normal pushchair when they get older. So yeah, that was fab. The Bugaboo for me, I loved it when I was just kind of like out and about, but as soon as you start going into like shops, there were shops that I had to turn around and walk out of because I couldn't fit through. As soon as you start trying to go to like restaurants and stuff like that, it is a nightmare. Lifts, you're normally okay, but also what I struggled with is where I live, a lot of the pavements when I want to go for a walk are very narrow, which is really annoying. But the Bugaboo, sorry, was like almost like falling off the curb. So yeah, it just wasn't that practical, which is a shame because it's a beautiful pushchair. You know, I do love it, but it just wasn't practical. So yeah, it was a bit of a regret really buying that. It was a bit of waste of money, so I'm gonna sell that one. And I think that's it in terms of like items. So really kind of like more importantly, I want to talk more about like what I would do differently looking back now, or perhaps what advice I would pass on to like other mums of multiple babies, or just mums in general really. First of all, perhaps like try not to worry too much about like the house being clean and tidy. Throughout the 10 months, I've always wanted to try and keep like everything clean, everything tidy. If someone's come around, it would stress me out if the house was a mess. And just for me personally, I don't like being around mess, which, you know, is ludicrous when you're having babies. So it's like, chill out about that. Like, I wish I could go back and say to myself, like, does it really matter? But I'm still like it now, so it's like, it's really difficult. We do have a cleaner. I've talked about that before. You know, there's no shame in admitting that you have help. I have a cleaner every 2 weeks for about 2 hours. That's it. So we've got, it's not a massive house, but it's 4 bedrooms, it's got a couple of bathrooms, an office. So yeah, there's like, you know, it's quite, you know, it's a decent sized detached house. So to keep it all clean, like all of the bathrooms and all of that, it was quite difficult. So she comes around and does a couple of hours every 2 weeks, and then all of the rest of the cleaning is down to mainly me. Chris is not the best at cleaning, so I like to keep things tidy. I suppose you just take pride, don't you, in your home and in your house. So, but you know, does it really matter when you've got babies? It doesn't really, does it? So I never ever really slept when they slept. I never really took naps in the day. I think I took 1 nap in the day, and that was it, because I was always like running around the house then and tidying and keeping everything clean. And really, it really doesn't matter. The other thing is quite difficult to talk about, and that was the whole breastfeeding thing. So I've talked about that before on my Instagram and on social media and stuff, and like Grayson had a high palate, he had tongue tie, they were both only £5, so they were 5 weeks premature. I managed to do the colostrum stage, and I managed to express for a bit, and then in the hospital I was given like a double pump, and to start off with it was going really well because the babies were prem, and because of Grayson's issues they weren't really latching on very well, and I was devastated. I got really upset about it. I don't want to get upset on this video, but I did get really upset about it. I was determined to breastfeed them, absolutely determined. People used to tell me that I couldn't, and that made me even more determined, and obviously I just wanted to give them the best possible start because that's what you're told is the best thing, and etc etc etc. So anyway, looking back now, I feel a tiny bit gutted that I didn't get a little bit more help with this. A lovely lady came around and she did like give me some help on how to hand express, and talked about the pumps and all of that, but I had absolutely no idea how frequently you are meant to pump to keep your flow up. So I had a lady come around to cut the tongue tie, and then she helped me get Grayson to latch on, and I've never been so happy. I was so happy, but because I wasn't pumping regularly enough, like literally every couple of hours, I didn't know that, but this is like all through the day and through the night, so it's a massive commitment, but I didn't know. So I was going from like producing like bottles like that to getting next to nothing, and it was destroying me. I was absolutely devastated. I'd researched all the different medications you could take to increase your flow, everything you could eat. I was eating all sorts of crap. I just thought that, you know, I just was prepared to do anything, like skin to skin, putting them on and all of that, and nothing worked, and I had 2 hungry babies. So in the end I just had to think, right, okay, what's more important? And I ended up bottle feeding them, and I was really gutted, but you know, it's turned out fine. They're so healthy, they're fantastic weights, and they're absolutely fine, but you do get that really bad guilt and a bit of jealousy when you see other people doing it as well, and you do feel a bit inferior and you do feel like you failed, but there was nothing more that I could have physically done. But if you are planning on breastfeeding twins, just be aware that if you do have any latching issues or anything like that, please get loads of help and loads of support with it. And if you do end up expressing, please know that you do have to do it very frequently to keep your flow up, so get some advice and stuff with that as well, guys. And then the other thing, again, like, it's hard to regret because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you can't go back, but one of the things that I do wish that I'd been more aware of is just like when you've got twins, obviously it's like quite difficult to like hold both babies at the same time, and when you're on your own with them, they will spend time when they're teeny babies in their sleepy heads and in their bouncers and all of that. But I honestly didn't know, and I feel so stupid saying this now, but I honestly didn't know, like, we did the tummy time, so we did the practice with the tummy time and all of that. I knew tummy time was important because I got told that, but I didn't really know that you should be like sitting them up all the time and you should be encouraging them to sit up. And mine were quite late to sit up, and part of me was like, well, so what? Like, they're all going to catch up eventually, like, why does it matter? But then people started pointing it out all the time, like on my Instagram and stuff. They're like, your babies are not sitting up yet, you know, and I was just like, shit, no, they're not. Like, is that my fault? Is it my fault they're not sitting up? But obviously a lot of it is physical. They have to have that core strength to sit up, but I thought, God, I know, should I have been practicing with sitting up with them? So like, I'd sit and like hold them, but should I have been doing that like every single day? I don't know, I didn't know. So, you know, when I researched it and I spoke to my health visitor, she was like, no, it's fine, like, as long as they're doing tummy time and their necks are strong and all of that, and, you know, don't worry about it because they're premature. They might be later to develop, and she said typically with twins, they can develop slower because they're not getting as much one-on-one time, and when children have got like older siblings, very often they can copy them as well, so they develop quicker. But ultimately I thought, oh bloody hell, like if I could do things different, I would have gone back and maybe from like, I don't know, 6 months, been like doing more kind of like practicing sitting up. And even though I've got 2, like I could have been doing it like one by one. So like, they're sitting up now, it doesn't matter, they are sitting up now, but in hindsight, I guess if I was around babies more, like what kind of was my light bulb moment? I went to Chris's sister's, and she's already got a baby, so she's got the experience of bringing up one baby, whereas obviously I didn't. And then she sat with her second baby, who's a little girl, gorgeous little girl, both beautiful children. And even though she's like this tiny little baby, she was sat up with her, and I said to Chris, we didn't do that. Like, we did not do that from that young. We started doing it later, but I just didn't know. And I think with twins, like, you just feel so overwhelmed that you've got these two tiny babies. It doesn't always enter your head to do these things. Like, I don't want to make excuses, but I'm just trying to explain. And Chris had never even held a newborn baby, so you know, he wasn't going to start suggesting that we do these things. So now I can't go back, but moving forward, like, you know, if any other mums are watching this, or mums of multiples or whatever, like, that is something you're meant to do, but I didn't know. Some of them will just sit up naturally. They won't need any encouragement, but some babies might need a bit more encouragement and a bit more practice. So there you go. There you go. I didn't know. But they sit up beautifully now. It's absolutely fine. You know, they might walk late, they might crawl late, I don't know. But you know, we're helping them try and learn and develop more. We've got them like some really nice toys, and again, like age appropriate toys and stuff was something that we kind of like learnt about as we went along. So now they, well, Grayson in particular has got like quite strong legs, so I know he's going to probably want to start walking a bit more, so we've got stuff to help him with that. The crawling thing, they've got like little crawl balls and things like that, so that's cool. So they'll, you know, they'll get better with that. So yeah, just being really open and really honest on that, and hopefully that might help somebody else. So I think the best thing I can say is just enjoy. If you've got one baby, two babies, three babies, you know, just enjoy it as much as you can, and know that sometimes it is going to be hard, and sometimes it's going to be amazing, and sometimes it'll just be in the middle. I've absolutely loved these last 10 months having twins. It is the best thing that ever happened to me, and somebody actually saw me yesterday, and it makes me feel really emotional saying this out loud as well, but she said to me, oh, every time I see you, you just seem happier and happier. And like, it sounds stupid now saying that because I feel like I'm going to cry, because I'm just like, I've just never been this happy. Like, and for her to say that, I was like, oh, that's so nice that like other people can see that. I just absolutely like worship them. So stupid, but like, I never used to cry at anything, but all through IVF, like, your emotions are all over the place. You know, I had 3 attempts to try and have these babies, and then I'm lucky enough to end up with 2, and it's just amazing. But you know, there are things that I would have done different, but at the end of the day, I'm doing my best, and sometimes that might be really good and sometimes it might not be, but I'm just like any other new mum, just going with the flow and enjoying the experience. Sometimes you might want to tear your hair out, but on the whole, it's just amazing. So, sorry about that. I don't always cry on my videos, sorry, but hopefully that will, you know, give you some hints and tips. And yeah, but it'd be really cool if you can just comment below, because there'll be other people coming on here as well that, you know, you might be sitting there thinking, oh god, but I want to say that I wish I hadn't bought this or this or this or this. It'd be really cool if in the comments below you can just comment and say what things you regret buying, or what things you regret doing or not doing, and that might help other people too. So I'd love to, you know, hear your experience as well, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. It's a club I never thought I would be part of, and I am, which is so special. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys.